All right, let's just dive right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to unpack something you probably use every single day, yet might take completely for granted. We're going to look at the computer, but we're not just going to treat it as a cold metal machine. We are going to explore it as an incredibly dynamic entity that takes in, processes, and spits out our world.
Here is our exact blueprint for today. First, we'll meet your machine. Second, we'll check out its senses for taking information in. Third, we'll dive into the brain, the real processing power. Fourth, we'll look at short and long-term memory. Fifth, we'll see the reactions through its output. And finally, number 6, we'll decode the language it all speaks.
Okay, part 1, meet your machine. Before we completely rip this thing apart into pieces, we need to establish exactly what it is we're dealing with. At its absolute core, a computer is simply an electronic machine or device that processes data. That's its whole reason for being. Information given to the computer is what we call data. And why do we even use them? Because a computer works insanely fast. It saves us massive amounts of time and energy, all while being able to remember a staggering amount of things.
Now, take a look at this blueprint. This is the information journey. Notice the flow here. It starts on the input side, feeds straight into the CPU, which, by the way, houses your memory, control, and ALU units, and then flows right out to the output side. You've also got that secondary storage acting as a backup loop right at the bottom. We are going to trace this exact path step by step. Moving on to part 2, senses, taking information in. This is where the journey actually begins. Because here's the thing. A computer will literally just sit there like a very expensive paperweight until you command it to act. You give it these commands using the input unit. You're entering data, numbers, the alphabet, images directly into the device. The input device takes all this very human information and translates it into a computer-understandable language, just so the processing units can actually get to work.
So, what's the most common way we start this conversation? The keyboard? For sure. It's our primary go-to tool for typing words, numbers, and symbols straight into the system. Think of it as opening up a direct textual dialogue with your machine. Then, of course, we have the mouse. This brilliant little pointing device changed everything. Instead of just typing lines of code, you can navigate a digital space, physically pointing and clicking to feed your commands and instructions right into the computer. But hey, it's not all just physical clicking and typing anymore. A microphone acts essentially as the computer's ears. It allows the machine to take in sound, meaning you can input speech, record a voice memo, or even sing a song into the system. It's literally turning your audio waves into actionable data. Which brings us to part 3, the brain, processing power. So now that the computer has sensed your typing, your clicking, or your voice, where does all that data actually go to get figured out? Enter the central processing unit, the CPU. This is universally known as the brain of the computer, and for good reason. Absolutely no action, no task, no command happens on your device without the execution and permission of this specific piece of hardware. It is the undisputed core. If we pop the hood and look inside this brain, we find 3 main departments working in total sync. First up, the memory unit. This immediately saves the incoming data and shoots it over to the other parts of the CPU. Next is the control unit. You can think of this as the core manager. It collects the data, interprets your instructions, and issues the signals to actually execute them. Finally, we have the arithmetic and logical unit, or the ALU. This is your in-house math whiz. It uses circuits to do all the heavy lifting: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, plus all the comparison and decision-making actions. All right, part 4. Memory, short, and long-term. Processing data is incredible, right? But if the brain forgets everything a second later, it's useless. The architecture of a computer's memory actually splits into 2 massive branches. You've got primary memory, which holds data temporarily while a program is actively running. Then you've got secondary memory, which is your backing store. That's used to preserve your programs and data for the long haul when you aren't actively using them. Zooming in on that primary memory side, we find this fascinating rivalry: RAM versus ROM. RAM, or random access memory, is temporary and highly volatile. That means if your computer suddenly loses power, the RAM loses all its data instantly. It's built for rapid speed during your normal day-to-day operations. ROM, or read-only memory, is the total opposite. It's permanent, non-volatile storage used to hold the absolutely crucial firmware for the startup process. You can read it, but generally you're not going to be writing on it very easily.
Now let's jump over to the other side of the tree, secondary memory. I want you to think of these as heavy steel filing cabinets. Take the hard disk. It literally has a physical disk attached to a spindle, rotated by a tiny motor, and read by a head positioned incredibly close to the disk's surface. Then you have the optical disk, like a CD or DVD, where the read operation is actually done using a low-powered laser beam that scans dots and converts them into electrical signals. Both of these give you that massive, permanent storage capacity.
Part 5. Reactions. Seeing the output.
Okay, we've inputted data, our CPU brain has processed it, and our memory has stored it. How do we actually know what happened? Well, the computer has to revert back to us with a result, translating all its digital work back into a language we humans can understand. The most basic, everyday way it does this is the monitor. Looking just like a TV screen, it visually displays whatever you've typed, drawn, or commanded the system to do. But sometimes we need that digital output in the real physical world, and that's exactly where the printer comes in. It takes the results of your work right from the screen and physically prints it onto a sheet of paper, giving you what we call a hard copy or a printout. And just like the computer can listen to us through a microphone, it can absolutely speak back to us through output devices called speakers. These take the digital audio data that the computer processed and turn it back into physical sound waves. That's what allows you to listen to your favorite songs, hear system alerts, or play back recorded speeches. Finally, part 6, the language. To fully wrap our heads around this amazing journey from input to output, we have to understand the language of measurement. 1024. Now, this isn't just some random number pulled out of thin air. In the world of computer memory, this is the magic multiplier. Because computers operate on a binary system, memory doesn't scale up by clean thousands like we're used to. It scales in increments based on the power of 2. Watch how this actually builds our digital world. Up at the very top, the absolute smallest unit of data is 1 bit, which is short for binary digit. It's just a single cell holding either a 0 or a 1. String 8 of those together and you get a byte. But here is where our magic number kicks in. 1024 bytes make up a kilobyte. 1024 kilobytes give us a megabyte. 1024 megabytes stack up to a gigabyte. And 1024 gigabytes create a massive terabyte. It all scales up systematically, piece by piece, 0 by 0. Which leaves us with this final thought. Look at the exact device you are watching this explainer on right now. Seriously, whether it's a phone, a tablet, or a big desktop setup, can you identify its senses, taking in your inputs? Do you know where its CPU brain is working right this second, or where its volatile and permanent memories reside? And how is it outputting this very information back to you right now? The blueprint is right in front of you. Go ahead, take a second and really inspect your machine.